All right, so let's go talk Jesus. I've got about 15 minutes before I got to go pick the kids up from school. So this is your disclaimer. If you don't want to talk Jesus and the less religious side of living for him or what he can deliver you from, if you don't want to talk trauma and how God can heal that, then here's your fair chance to exit. So a couple of minutes ago, I posted a song from this guy. I don't even remember his name, but I remember on Mondays I do Celebrate Recovery, and I always get there early. That way I can get myself right. That way I can go over the lesson and pray and just kind of get alone with God. And this guy's song come up, and it talked about Jesus being in his storm, and I was like, man, that resonated with me, because there's been so many times where you go through a storm and you don't want to tell nobody about it, because Lord, didn't she just go through a storm, or boy, she must be doing something wrong, because you've always got those people. But in every storm that I've ever had, regardless if anybody knew about it or not, God always showed up. And there was times when I went through a deeply personal, nothing to do with nobody else but me kind of storm. And Jesus becomes very, very real to you at 2 o'clock in the morning when you curled up in a fetal position in your tub crying out to God, and he's the only one that shows up. Not because nobody else cares, or not because nobody else doesn't know, but because in that moment God is the only person that can do anything for you to help you. So this song come up, and let me backtrack. So I get back from the school this morning from taking the kids, and I sit down at the computer and I'm writing my paper that I'm late on. It was due last night. And I get done writing it, and I get up and I'm sweeping and I'm mopping and just kind of, moseying around the house, and I've got my music going, and I'm just spending time with the Lord, you know what I'm saying? Enjoying the peace that he's provided me in this season. And this song comes up. I wish I'd have wrote his name down, but just what he's describing, I think, is where a lot of people are. You go to church and, you may sing the songs and you may memorize the scriptures and then go home and still sin secretly, because don't nobody know about that. But even in that, you can go to church, you can do all the right things, you can know the scriptures, you can sing the songs, but still be struggling. But God will still show up. So because I cannot remember nothing, I wrote these down. Now this song is like 9 minutes long, but it's like a whole story, because I've come to see that these songs that he puts out, almost all of them are like that. So I'm not holy. Lord, you know me. All my dirts are on display. Still, you hold me like you chose me. Even when I walk away, if grace is still for the broken, then I'm standing at your door. I'm not holy, but I'm yours. I've laid my guilt in the nighttime, and then woke up with hell in my chest. Still, you pull me out of my darkness when I've got no good left. I've memorized the scriptures, but I barely let them in. I've sung with all the saints, Lord, while still drowning in my sin. And that was very profound, because in the song he's talking about, I'd rather lay in my bed at night and wrestle with the silent screams in my head than come to you. I've traded in heaven's promise of peace because I'm trying to do it my way. And that just, like, when I mean like lightning bolts went flashing off, I'm like, man, if people could just, if we as Christians or God followers could ever get non-believers to understand, man, it's not about how you dress. It's not about how you look. Yes, be modest. I'm not saying don't, you know what I'm saying? Because you're going to know a Christian by the fruit that they bear. You're going to know whether or not that person is following God. But it's not about that. It's not about how many scriptures you can memorize. It's not about who sings the best or how big your church is. It's not about what denomination you are. It is not about that. What I can tell you from my personal experience is I've met God in them dark closets. I've smiled and put on the front during the day. You know, everything is peachy keen. It's wonderful. Woohoo, live for God. And then come back home and struggle so bad mentally, or with something that I just can't seem to let go of. You know, I can't let go of the anxiety. I can't let go of the overwhelming fear like I'm messing everything up. I can't let go of people always disappoint me. I can't let go of people pleasing. Whatever, insert your thing there. But at them 2:00 showers, when you're saying, God, I don't know what else to do. Like I've tried to do it on my own. And God, I know that I'm right here in the same mess that you've done pulled me out of again. But God, I need you to show up one more time. I need you to help, because if you don't, I'm not going to make it. And in those times when you really choose to get real with God, when it's, God, I don't want to lay in the bed at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning and trade in the peace that you provide through that rest of sleep for all of the stuff that I've got going on in my head. God, I need help with that. So that was very profound to me. So there's your top tip, since I done got one other today. There's you another one. Make sure that you're not trading in the hell and the chaos in your mind, when not only can God give you that peace, but he wants to, he's willing to. All you have to do is be willing to. You know, something else that popped in my mind today was Peter. And, you know, people give Peter a lot of slack. Oh, he sank. Well, you know what? He the only one that stepped out the boat too. He was walking on water while everybody else is sitting back in the boat like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? But the moment that he took his eyes off of Jesus and started focusing on everything going on around him is when he started to sink. So that not only tells me, but should tell you, it does not matter how big the storm is, how strong it is, or how long it's been going on. Doesn't matter. You can still walk on water as long as you keep your eyes on him. No matter how bad you're hurting, no matter the financial trouble, whatever it is, if you'll just keep your eyes on him. Because as soon as he got his eyes fixed back on Jesus, Jesus didn't tow him back to that boat. He ain't getting no piggyback ride. I heard that at church a couple weeks ago and that stuck. Jesus didn't give him no piggyback ride. He had to walk back to that boat. But the difference was he walked back with Jesus and he learned something in that. So, y'all have a good day.